I was always an idea, but I finally reserved the title of the number in India, the 6th century, the brainchild of the great astronomer, Aryabhatta. And so, in 771 AD, Arabic merchants translated me to have a name, the infamous and lonely beginning. And then, I was translated again to Latin, to eventually become the number one you know today. For a while though, I was alone, left to my own devices. What other number squares to become itself? What other number is as created as I am? I waited for a few hundred years until the 9th century for 0 to come along. You're the one for me. Suddenly, some number understood what it was like to be a nuisance, a conundrum to our creators. I wasn't just one anymore. I was on, and she was off. Indeed, with a power copy we all forgot, we are binary. Yes, this is my mathematical world, and it is 0 and I, the other numbers and the ideas that encapsulate us, that will continue to make your world what it is, a mathematically technological paradise.
Mathematicians, inventors, and scientists have utilized the universal language of mathematics to understand gravity, to run economies, design buildings, power the world with electricity, invent telecommunication, make your cars drive and planes fly. Pythagoras, Archimedes, Newton, Gauss, Einstein, Fibonacci, and Pascal. But that's enough about the past, because the future is what is to come. So what is to come? Your world has become overrun by computers, the overpowering machines that have made your lives easier and so much more enjoyable. And all thanks to billions of strings of ones and zeros. Code. I understand your fears. You're afraid of this artificial intelligence taking over, a dystopian world. Despite my pride, I must reassure you, we ones and zeros will never be as complex as your brain is. But in the years to come, perhaps we'll be able to translate and inject messages into them. Side note, your brain is currently learning about itself. Computers can translate brain activity into code and translate back into brain activity. Researchers from Harvard Medical School have established brain-to-brain communication via the internet from India to France, 8,047 kilometers using internet-connected electroencephalogram and to artificially intelligent assisted image-guided transcranial magnetic stimulation.
Similar to the way that bionics work, electrodes attached to the scalp record electrical currents specific to particular thoughts and convert these messages into code using electroencephalogram. We have 100 billion neurons in our brain, each with its own complexity and with its own voltage, generally equal to negative 70 megavolts. These neurons can allow ions pass through, resulting in a voltage jump to as high as 20 megavolts, what is known as firing. Sometimes, generally when thought occurs, masses of neurons fire synchronously or rhythmically, demonstrated in oscillations.
Before we apply these concepts though, we must truly mathematically understand them. We'll begin with two neurons, A and B, that want to fire periodically. Their interactions are excitatory, meaning A's firing will cause B to fire earlier. Neuron B on its own would fire U units from now on, where U is greater than 0 and less than 1. Suppose A fires now, accelerating the fire of B so that it now fires F times U units from now, where FU is greater than 0 and less than U. Now let's introduce our favorite, calculus, with the strobe light idea brought forward by Charles Peskins. Simply turn on a strobe light to focus on the single moment when A fires. How far is B from firing at this point? Basically, when A has fired, B is now U away from firing. Then, just after the next firing of U, B will now be GU away from firing. So, basically, GU equals F times 1 minus F times 1 minus U. This iterates for every time B fires after A, compoundly, so that every firing of A multiplies U by G again. Eventually, the sequence converges to 0. When A fires B is just about to fire, or 1, when B fires A is just about to fire. What can we gather from this? Even the smallest changes in F can make the difference between synchrony and no synchrony, allowing us to further understand the way that neurons work in order to produce thoughts. This information is used by computers to translate one's thoughts through oscillations and eventually injects them into another brain. What exactly, though, does this mean for your human future?
Imagine brain-to-brain communication being a part of your everyday lives. Your thoughts, the messages in your brain being shared with your loved ones around the world. Who would have thought telepathy can be made real? Even more than that, though, imagine virtual reality, where your own senses simulated through transcranial magnetic stimulation to see coded, distinct views and smell particular smells and hear certain things, where you are truly made to feel as if you're at the Daintree rainforest or at Angkor Wat or shopping at the Abu Dhabi Mall, able to truly experience an atmosphere or look at and try on virtual clothes in a seemingly real mall that you can visit from the couch at home.
Imagine this all becoming a reality thanks to math, thanks to computers. thanks to, well, one and I. Maths is indeed the future, a future of true virtual reality. And believe me when I say, you are all invited.